Good, still early morning. It's September the 14th, and I am walking along Broadway here and heading to past Winnipeg, and then going to, that's the street, not the city, and then going to sort of walk back and forth between Broadway and Winnipeg. Sorry, Broadway and College, I should say. We'll do a street-by-street walk. I've kind of done it south of Broadway, but I haven't done it north of Broadway, so that's what this is going to be about. And that should pass the time. A little later today, I just came back from working out at the Faustina Golf Club. It's pleasant. It's supposed to go to 21 today. Bright and sunny, feels kind of fallish, and as you can see, still more and more fall-colored leaves on the trees. Suites available if you're looking to rent. So I've sort of parked back there at the shopping strip mall before, and then walked down on this side of Broadway quite a bit. But I haven't done it. Boy, my horizon really looks off today. What is that? Snow. Oh well. The ground doesn't really slant. It's just sometimes even though I try to level it, it doesn't look very level. Like, doesn't that look? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it'll adjust itself. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Tilt your head. It's really a very pleasant day for a walk. So once I get up here, I'll cross over to the other side of Broadway. So I was doing more proofreading on the anthology, Shapers of Worlds Volume 2, that I kickstarted, that features short fiction by authors who were guests during the second year of my Aurora award-winning podcast, The World Shapers, www.theworldshapers.com. New episode just went up this last weekend featuring international best-selling author Laurel K. Hamilton. I'd like to check that out. The short stories are great. It's going to be a great anthology. It is a great anthology. I'm just the only one who's read the whole thing at this point. Probably. Unless some of the authors I send page proofs to have read the whole thing, but I doubt that. They're too busy being authors. It's actually a sort of retirement residence, that one. This is the intersection. So I've walked down that way before, but never over here. And I've walked down there, of course. But not down this side. So we're going to go and just walk back and forth between College and Broadway here. Street by street. One reason for doing that is that the first street we'll go down, which I think is called Wallace, is the one where Ariane Forsyth lives in my series, the Shards of Excalibur series, young adult fantasy series, High Kirk in Vancouver. Yeah, it is Wallace. I thought it was. So we'll walk by her entirely fictional house. It's not based on a real house, but it's based on the kinds of houses that are on that street. I could show you more or less where it is, if it were real. So that's the Shards of Excalibur series, which is my 5-book young adult fantasy series, recently republished by Shadowpaw Press after the original publisher, Kato Books, went out of business. Where the Lady of the Lake shows up in Wascana Lake and tells this local girl that she's not a Lady of the Lake, or has the power of the Lady of the Lake if she wants to accept it. And she and her friend Wally Knight are given the task of finding the scattered shards of Excalibur before Merlin can. And she lives a little further up here on the other side of the street. Let's see if I can find a house that looks sort of like the one I described. I guess there's actually 2 blocks between here and Winnipeg. I was thinking it was only 1, but it's actually 2. I mean, College. I keep saying Winnipeg. Winnipeg's the one block to my left. Just a lovely morning. Has that little bit of coolness that makes you think fall, but also makes it very pleasant. We get some of our nicest weather in the fall. And this is one of those days. I was out at the golf course. Makes me wish I was golfing. One for sale if you're looking. Nice and tidy little house. They have some autumnal decorations on their porch there. So, Ariane would live in a house very much like that one, I would think. It's 2 stories hers, not 3, but that top was just an attic. So that's probably pretty close to where she lives. So yeah, Ariane Forsyth, right along here somewhere, I would think. Down there is Miller High School. In the book, she goes to Oscana Collegiate, which is actually Balfour, which I've walked by over there a few times. And a lot of action takes place just across the street there in fictional, well, now fictional, I think there used to be tennis courts there. But in the book, there are tennis courts there. Because I can make up whatever I want, because I'm a writer. What else have I got to do today? Well, I'll switch into editing mode. I have an editing job. Well, I guess I have been editing, doing proofreading, but actually editing somebody's words as opposed to proofreading. Not quite the same thing. I'll be doing that for the rest of the week, actually. Another one for sale. Now, this was clearly a store at some point, but I don't know what kind of store it was. It's a bit of a fixer-upper now. If you want to open a business here, you could probably get the building cheap, but it might take a bit of work. It's old enough it has a bit of ornamentation on it. This is College. We'll just go around the corner for a block and then go back again. Lots of little houses along here. College is busy enough, people might think I'm a cop with a radar gun when they see me. Not exactly dressed like one. Kind of the minimalist approach to the front gardens there. But it works. It's had a bit of color and interest. All right, now we'll go down Atkinson. When we get up to where the church is, I might go north of College a little bit and see. Just that there's some a little bit of interest there. There's a school and other stuff. A little less autumny than I would have thought down some of these streets. So I guess we still got a ways to go before full fall colors. But they certainly are popping up here and there. Other thing I had to do this morning was write a very brief, no spoilers teaser text for the Tangled Stars, which will be coming out from Daw about a year from now. I think it's a fall title, so that'll be my next novel from Daw. It'll put me 2 years between novels for Daw, but hopefully that will start a new series. At least one more book after that in that series, and all depends on sales, so ring those phones, buy those books. It's an empty lot over there. There's this high school again. Somebody doesn't care for front grass. It's an interesting little yellow house. Probably 40s, I would think. That one, post-war maybe. A lot of these little houses were sort of post-Second World War, I've been told. They're small, but interesting to look at. One with ivy growing up the chimney. This is Broadway again. The alleys actually look inviting, but maybe for another walk. Still flowers. We haven't had a killing frost yet, so we're kind of past the average first date of frost. So we've been lucky this year. Went down to, well, it was 3 when I got up this morning, so getting close, but not actually a frost. We're on Broadway again. We will continue. It's like a bigger house. Looks like they're doing something up there. They've got like a lizard over top of their garage, which is interesting. There's a lot of noise on our street this morning. Somebody was having a tree taken down in their backyard, it looked like. We did that last year. It was dead. We didn't want it dropping branches on our lawn furniture or whatever. There's another one for sale over there. Little one. And it's kind of interesting to look at. They're small, these houses, but they're not cookie cutter for the most part. That looks like, it's an interesting one. It's almost like 2 of them put together. There's some fall colors in the leaves. Oh, still lots of color in those bushes. Size of house I lived in before I was married. I rented something about the size of these over on Garnet Street. I've pointed it out before. It was probably older though. It was post First World War. Probably built about 1918 or something like that. These, as I said, I've been told, are probably post-Second World War houses. Oh, that's quite a busy corner. What's going on in that yard? Back across 17th here. That's 17th. Duck. Another approach to the front yard. No grass, but a couple of nice flower stations, I guess. Arrangements. I don't know what you'd call them. Garden spots. That style with these kind of a peaked entrance and a symmetrical little house is quite common. And of course, sometimes they look very small in the front, but they go back further than you think, so they're not quite as tiny as they look. They're just narrow lots. College Avenue drugstore up here. Never been in there. Driven by it many times. College Avenue gets quite a bit of traffic from people. It'll take you right down to, connects you to Arcola. And once you get past the various school zones, I guess I already went by the church. Oh no, it's up there. I thought I'd somehow walked further than I thought I had. Farther than I thought I did. Answer One Business Consulting. I've never noticed that before. I don't know what the honk was for. Houses with the peak entrance, not quite as symmetrical as some, but same general idea. Back this way again. There's a new one going up, or at least an older one being renovated, hard to be sure. Yeah, it's a newer one for sure, that design. Here's a little one. And it doesn't go back much further than it looks like. That's tiny. With some brick on it, which is a bit unusual. We don't have as many brick houses as you'd think. I don't know why. I wouldn't for sale over there. Somebody else has just joined me. Who's that? Jasvier. Following me consistently. Oh, that's good. I hope I am of some interest. I just do it to get exercise, and you can come along for the walk. Okay, and I talk about my writing a bit, but I doubt I've sold any books. Boy. Such a nice new road 17th has become. I've never walked in these particular streets before, so this is a new one for me. Getting up to whatever this work was that they were doing. What's that? Well, you can see a lot of Regina. Still lots of it I've never walked in. Parts of it I won't walk in because it's just not, it's either not pedestrian friendly or it's not a part of town that I particularly want to walk around in carrying a camera. But I've at least once in a large portion, especially the southern half, which is easier for me since I live in this part, southern part of the city. But on the weekend I went up and did what I called the Northwest Passage. Now they're doing a lot of work there. Do I want to walk up and see what it is? For sure. The sidewalk may be closed though. Surprising amount of traffic. Whatever they're doing. Oh, the sidewalk was closed on that block, so I missed it, so that's good. Whatever they're doing right there, digging a hole. Continuing along Broadway. Unlike the guy in New York that inspired this, I don't get to walk on that Broadway. But at least we have a Broadway. Keeping an eye on my mic. I've had all sorts of problems with this mic, keeping it charged. Eventually I think it'll just quit. The previous one I can't charge at all. I replaced it with this one after I complained, and it's getting to the same point. I have a little battery pack with two little contacts that the mic is supposed to touch to charge. You charge the battery pack, then you put the mic in this thing. But after a while it just quits making the contact. I don't know how that can happen, but it does. And then it'll quit charging, and then it'll cut out. When it does cut out, it just quits. It doesn't give any warning. So anyway, I have a brand new mic system. I still need a cable that should come this week. That one, you plug the mic in directly to charge, so there's never any question whether it's charged or not. Hope it works. I spent more money than I intended to because I had to get a too complicated to go into, but it wasn't as simple as just getting the mic. iPhones don't let you connect an external mic via Bluetooth. You have to have a receiver, which then goes in through the lightning port, which is how this one works. Unfortunately, the receiver for this one doesn't work on the new mic. So I basically had to get a second mic in order to have a receiver. Anyway, and then a cable. I don't exactly know how I'm going to make it work on my gimbal here, because it's going to be clunkier. But if it stays charged and doesn't quit in the middle of the walk, it'll be worth it. As I inch my way up towards 1,000 subscribers, which is when I can start making money. Only 870 subscribers to go. After half a year, I've probably added 100 subscribers to my channel since I started doing this back in March. So at that rate, what, 4 or 5 years, I might reach 1,000 subscribers. There's some autumn colors. Again, all these, it's a neat and tidy neighborhood. Very small houses. I might just go north of College here just to go by the church there. And there's a school and what's it called? There's a community center there whose name escapes me at the moment. There's a crosswalk. Oh, uh-oh. Unstable internet connection. Hang in there. Don't lose my feed. So yeah, we'll go north of College for a couple of blocks here. How long have I been out? Well, I won't go much further anyway before I'll head back to... Although I won't be zigzagging going back, so I can go a ways further before I just start walking back. This is Little Flower Church. I've never been in there. Driven by it many times, but I've never been inside it. Still getting unstable internet connection warning. Little Flower Church and Auditorium, and then of course there's a school next to it. Newer school over there, older school here. Interesting facade. St. Augustine Community School. I don't know how old this one is. It's probably in my book, but I'd have to look it up. Book being Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw. St. Augustine, quite impressive entrances. The facade is interesting. And then there's the new part of the school connected to it over there. So up here, it's another one of the places I brought my daughter for her very short-lived experiment in soccer when she was 4. Quickly became apparent she had no interest in soccer. Even more quickly became apparent I had no interest in soccer, because it's really boring watching 4-year-olds play soccer. This is actually there's a library in there, Prince of Wales branch. So I must have been in there because I've been in every public library at least once, doing readings and such. But the last few times I've been in here, it's because this was where they hold the winter farmers market. Gawkey Park. Let's take this little path. Nice playground over there. There's a spray park too, although it's not currently spraying. Of course, there's an outdoor rink here. It won't be too long until there's probably... Oop, what's that? Yeah, well, you know, if she had taken to it and had really enjoyed it, she would have kept doing it. But you always start your kids in a lot of things to see what they like. And it turned out with her, it was, well, she liked figure skating, but she settled on dance was her main activity. So I took her to a lot of dance classes. We'll go up around the end of it here. It's not that I can't enjoy a game of soccer, but at that age, not all that interesting. So there's the main entrance, and it's called the Cor Ritchie. That's what it's called. I couldn't remember the name. Cor Ritchie. What did it say? Al Ritchie. I think that was the name of the guy, but not the name of the center. There's some more. Cor Ritchie Neighborhood Center. There you go. And the Prince of Wales branch of the Regina Public Library is in there. So we'll walk around the end, we'll go down the other side and go back to our south of College, between College and Broadway path. Rink here. Well, I can't really apologize for coming in late since there's no set time. It's just whenever I feel like it, or depending on what else I'm doing. I should apologize for coming in late. Ah, right, it's Cor Ritchie Neighborhood Center, Al Ritchie Rink, I guess. Al Ritchie Community Association. I don't believe I've ever been on the rink side of this. Right here, go around this end of it. Sometime I'll come and walk in this side of things, but today I was mostly focused on the other side. Not a very exciting wall on this side. Nope, that's not very exciting either. There's a door under there somewhere. There it is, around the corner. And here's the other side of this. Al Ritchie Community Association. Al Ritchie Family Wellness Center. So there's a lot of things in here. And they've clearly just recently redone their parking lot. It's very black and smooth. Oh, the spray park is going. Interesting. And there's also tennis courts over here, so a little bit of everything. Playground, spray park. I won't go too close to the playground because I don't like to point the camera at unknown children. Tennis courts. Quite a nice playground. St. Maria Faustina School. This must be one where they combine a Catholic and public school together. We'll go down the alley because that's clearly a Catholic school. And then the I don't know, actually. I don't know how those two schools connect, but they are connected. I don't know why exactly. There's the school, and then as a lot of the schools have, what was a temporary classroom has now become probably a permanent classroom attached to it because the population population swelled. There's the back of the old school. See, it connects to this school, so one presumes they're all one institution, but I don't really know how it works here. It's one of the few schools I've never been in. It all connects. Here we are behind the church. And back at college. I'd like to cross here if I can successfully jaywalk without getting myself run over. I can, so good. So that puts me back on my up and down between. However, how's the time doing here? 37 minutes. You know, I think I'll just go down to Broad and then walk back along Broadway. Not Broad, but Broadway. Back to the car. Maybe I can vary it a little bit. I'll take an alley here. Make my way a little further over that way, but stop doing the north-south thing. I like alleys. They're quieter than the roads, for one thing. These are nice alleys, too. They're paved. Stay in the alley. Okay, let's do that. Oof, you always get dogs barking at you when you walk in the alley. They don't like people in their alleys. Yep, little flower. I walked by the front of it on the way by. Oh, I think there's something else there. So they're both separate school. I don't know why they're connected. Why they're not just one name, I mean. Don't know the history there. We are back at 17th. Ooh, that's broken at the top, and fairly recently it looks like. There would have been a major chunk of tree coming off when that went down. Let's look at the ones around it. Well, the house is still there, so it must not have landed on the house. But it's broken. It doesn't look like it was chopped. So, oh look, more construction. Maybe I'll go a block further south just to avoid walking back directly along Broadway. Once I get to Broadway, which I'm not at yet, that's the street up there. careful. There are some very good sized spruces in this neighborhood. Possibly because, unlike in our neighborhood, they're not competing for the sunlight as they grow up. That one has probably had the sunlight all to itself. Yeah, that looks boring. Oh, I'll stick with it. Broadway. We'll go one more block to the left. I don't know what they're doing down there, but I clearly don't want to walk that way. And then we'll start working our way back to the east. Sorry, west. This is east. I knew that. Pro tip, the sun comes up in the east. Another one for sale, if you're looking. Even if you're not looking, it's still for sale. Now, is that a school or a church? Okay, we'll go far enough to go by that and then head back. This is McDonald Street. Just because I've never walked by this church before, I'll check it out. It looks like there's a bit of parkland beyond it, maybe. Broadway United Church. There you go. Driven by it, never walked by it, or got this close to it, or looked at it particularly, so there it is. And yes, there's a park beyond it. I like parks. Kind of a boring park, though. Oh, it's got a hill. Don't know that I'll go over and bother climbing it, though. Squirrel. Well, maybe I'll at least cross the street, get a better look at it. Again, driven by it. Never been in that particular patch of greenery. Squirrel. Big swath of grass, some hills, trees, everything you could want in a park, football field. More park, playground. Regina has lots of green space, as I keep pointing out as I do these walks. That's practically a view. Now we'll turn and head pretty much straight west. Well, I can't resist a path. Okay, one little path. Nobody on the playground. Queen Elizabeth Jubilee Park. Thank you for looking that up. I was looking for a sign. they got a spray park too. Right there. It's spraying. There's nobody on it, but it's spraying. Go closer. An unobstructed view of the spray park. So not particularly good for a thumbnail, which is what I was thinking of. All right, we'll go around the corner and then we'll head east or west and head back straight to the car from here. Morning or afternoon now. Okay, now we'll head west as the roads will permit us to do so. I might have pushed this one past an hour unintentionally. Let's see. I did a lot of zigzagging and now it's more or less straight back, so. Get home for lunch. I'm getting hungry. The breeze is nice and cool when the sun goes behind the trees. So we're just about Jubilee Park. I have a good authority. McCarra Street. I knew somebody that lived on McCarra Street. They were down that way. There's a new house. Is that all one house? Or is it two houses sharing a common fence? No, it's one big house. Oh, it is a big house. Goes all the way from there over to here. Taking up two lots. Oops. I don't know if it's two older houses that were, almost looks like two older houses that were renovated and joined together. I don't know for sure. McDonald again. Just take me down to Broadway, so let's go up to the next one that goes in the right direction I want to go. Up ahead of us, where the trees give out, would be Douglas Park, which I've walked through before. Okay, we'll go down Holland. I thought it said Hotland Avenue. Holland Avenue. Oh, it's not a monster compared to some in the city, but it's a monster for that neighborhood. I mean, we're in a neighborhood where the older house is this size, so yeah, it's a big one by the older houses in the neighborhood standards. But most new houses are big ones by the old standards. People just want bigger houses these days. Yeah, I knew they were launching the new iPhone today. This is an 11. I usually go at least, so I missed the 12. I'm usually every other one I sometimes look at, but this one's not that old. So it'll probably be a while yet. Till my contract makes it less costly to upgrade. Here's a park. Not the most exciting park. Just a lot of grass, a few trees over there. Now we're getting close to where my niece lives, actually. I'll walk through the park. She lives in this neighborhood, my niece the lawyer, and her husband and their little baby, who's just over a year old now. My great niece and a great uncle, more than once. Great uncle multiple times over. In the genealogical sense. I'm also a great uncle, but great uncle as in great, our grandfather. I don't know why we're not called granduncle. Shouldn't I be a granduncle? Great uncle. I would say great uncle. You'd think it'd be granduncle. Oh, that's an interesting question I never thought about until now. I'm glad I'm not a great aunt, because there's children's books I loved as a kid. Swallows and Amazons by Arthur Ransom, and two of the girls in that series have a great aunt, and she's the bane of their existence. So I wouldn't want to be a great aunt, but I'm happy to be a great uncle. Yeah, see, these are more typical houses of this neighborhood compared to that one I walked by. That's why I remarked on it. Well, I think this is going to take me right back to Broadway, and then I'll just walk the rest of the way back on Broadway to the car, which is in the strip mall, a little ways down. Well, it's in the strip mall's parking lot, it's not in the strip mall itself. Actually, it's not really a strip mall. I don't know that there's any connections between the stores. I don't know if that's a strip mall or not. I guess it is. Here we are on Broadway. Squirrel again. Different one. Well, probably. Go up the tree in a minute. There goes. Oh, there's another one on the other side. You seem to be surprised by that. So here we are back where the work is going. I turned the corner there last time. Went down the other side, but now we'll just stick to this side as we head on down to the shopping center and the car. Working hard. 2 people working, 4 people standing around in the yard talking. Always seems to be that way. I know there's reasons for that, but it always looks that way when you go by. Here comes a dog. Now what they're doing over there. Could have been a water main break, although there's no water. seem to be digging into a driveway. There's a car in the driveway. I hope he doesn't need out anytime soon. There's a low watering yard. I'm seeing more and more of those. It never used to be any on our street, and 2 or 3 houses now have put in something like that. That's about the only campaign sign I've seen on this block. Federal election is what? Less than a week away? I guess it was a week from yesterday. So 6 days from today. Yeah, well, I got a picture of you not signaling there. This guy at least signaled. So that's Winnipeg down there where the light is. Yeah, it didn't look that close, but I think it was a poodle. And then the car's about a block and a half past Winnipeg. And we'll be done. Just about an hour. Maybe slightly over by the time I get there. A nice little yard inside the hedge. Not much to look at on this side. And it's not a driveway either. Atkinson Street. I mean, all these houses, I think that's, I wasn't really looking, but I think that's about the only one I've seen in this whole walk. There's way more in our neighborhood. But we've got lots of university professor types and people like that. I'll never put one up. If I put one up, what I would like to put up, and I've talked about it for 2 or 3 elections, never done it, would be to print off the Hamilton sign, you know, orange with the black star and Hamilton on top of it reaching his hand up from the musical. That's what I'd like to put in my front yard. I'll never put an actual campaign poster in my yard because I don't really want people to know how I vote. So that's what secret ballots are all about. Come back to the seniors building, or mostly seniors building, and the apartment building here. This is the older one of the two. Oh, good. We should hit this just about right. It's just changing, so don't bother pressing the button because I'm too late to get the signal, but we'll cross. As you can see, this one is much newer. been in that one. Not in the older one. Yeah, that's it. If you say so. I can never remember the names of all the little neighborhoods and things. This is Broadway Terrace, though, right? The building. Is that what that is? Built in something. It's the name of the buildings, not the neighborhood. I get it. Yeah, I remember this one's called Broadway Terrace. Front of it, and that's Belfort Collegiate over there. And I'm just about back to the car. Belfort. I've walked over there quite a bit. I walked down here. Now I've walked in another big chunk of this part of town that I hadn't done before. Tomorrow, who knows? Grocery store over there, a few other things. Liquor store down past the end of the grocery store. And I'm glad I'm back to the car because the wind's blowing in my face and I have dust in my eye. Looks like I just lost the sound there. Hopefully just in the last minute or two. Just in time to finish. I think it was working. Since Dwight was responding to what I said. So, we'll stop here. Thanks for walking with me, and I'll be back tomorrow.